Holistic Earth. The story of David and Goliath, as depicted in the Book of Samuel, is a tale of spiritual and religious significance. The narrative highlights the defeat of the Philistine giant Goliath by the young David in single combat. This event is symbolic, signifying King Saul's unfitness to rule, as Saul himself should have been the one to fight for Israel. The modern interpretation of David and Goliath has become a metaphor for underdog situations, where a smaller, weaker opponent faces a much larger, stronger adversary. In the biblical accounts, 1 Samuel 17, the Israelites, led by Saul, faced the Philistines in the valley of Elah. Goliath, the champion of the Philistines, challenges the Israelites to send out their own champion for single combat. Saul, initially afraid, eventually agrees, and David steps forward to accept the challenge. Despite Saul offering his armor, David opts for only his staff, sling, and 5 stones. The confrontation unfolds with David proclaiming his faith in God, stating that the battle is God's, and he will deliver Goliath into their hands. David defeats Goliath by hurling a stone from his sling, striking Goliath in the forehead. Goliath falls, and David beheads him. The Philistines flee, pursued by the Israelites. David takes Goliath's armor to his tent and presents the head to Jerusalem. Saul inquires about David's lineage, and David identifies himself as the son of Jesse the Bethlehemite. The composition of the Book of Samuel, part of the Deuteronomistic history, reveals possible revisions and contradictions. The Goliath narrative consists of an original story and subsequent additions, including details about David bringing food to his brothers, the battle account, and Saul's introduction to David. The height of Goliath is a point of contention in ancient manuscripts. The Dead Sea Scrolls, Josephus, and major Septuagint manuscripts mention 4 cubits and a span, while the Masoretic text has 6 cubits and a span. Scholars debate whether the discrepancy is a result of transmission errors. The underlying purpose of the Goliath story is to emphasize Saul's unsuitability as king. Despite Saul's stature and access to comparable armor, David, described as a shepherd who battled against threats to his sheep, is the one who prevails. David's speech in 1 Samuel 17 uses animal imagery, suggesting that he functions as the true king who manipulates wild beasts. The narrative also explores the figure of Elhanan, who, in 2 Samuel 21 verse 19, is credited with killing Goliath. Scholars dismiss later attempts to harmonize this account in 1 Chronicles 20 verse 5 as an interpolation. The Goliath story incorporates elements reminiscent of Greek armor and narrative formulae, raising questions about its historical accuracy. Similarities with the Iliad, where Nestor defeats a giant, suggest cross-cultural influences. The name Goliath has archaeological connections with Tel Safi, identified as biblical Gath. The name is linked etymologically to the biblical Goliath and demonstrates cultural context in the late 10th to early 9th century BC. Later traditions in Jewish and Islamic sources provide additional perspectives. The Babylonian Talmud portrays Goliath as ungodly in taunting the Israelites, claiming to have captured the Ark of the Covenant. Muslim tradition sees the battle as a prefiguration of Muhammad's later struggles. In modern usage, David and Goliath has become a secular metaphor for underdog situations in various contexts, from sports and business to science and social justice. The theological aspect, emphasizing the power of David's God and the weakness of Philistine deities, is often overlooked in contemporary interpretations. The story's cultural impact extends to popular culture, with various adaptations in film, television, and literature, including an Italian Goliath film series in the early 1960s.